California Governor Gavin Newsom continuing to face major scrutiny over the budget to fire departments across the state.
For more on that, let's welcome in former Principal Deputy Press Secretary at the White House, Hogan Gidley, and Republican strategist Bobby Eberle. So, Hogan, Governor Newsom cut the budget in June, slashing funding for wildfires and for forest resilience by $101 million. We've seen the results now. I think probably California is going, what on earth are we getting our money's worth?
Of course they are. And sadly, as you know, Mark, this problem has persisted for a long time, but we really don't hear much about it until it impacts a lot of the wealthy folks, the Hollywood types. They're the ones, for some reason, that are going to have to stand up and say, wait a minute, what got us to this point? We talk about all the things going on with global warming. They say it's 100% true and that you could fix it easily. But this is something that we know is preventable with proper forestry management, and Gavin Newsom refuses to do that. All kinds of issues are going to lead up to finding out exactly why this happened. A lot of politicians, I think, are going to be on the chopping block for allowing it to do that. The money spent or not spent on preventing wildfires, on the water and things like that, will come to bear because people are going to ask a lot of questions, and they deserve a lot of answers. The problem is I don't think those answers are going to be very good, and Gavin Newsom's political future is in serious jeopardy.
Yeah, and they're already starting to ask those questions. I mean, these people are paying some of the highest taxes in the country, Bobby, and they're kind of wondering, what is our money going towards if our house is burning to the ground? And we know that as this city of Los Angeles and outside Los Angeles is burning, Governor Newsom took time over the weekend to sit down for a podcast. Pod Save America took several hours. In that podcast, he continued to blame local authorities. Bobby, he is the governor of the state of California, yet he has not taken any ownership for what's happening. What do you make of his response to this disaster?
Well, I mean, you're seeing the results right now, what you were saying about taxpayers speaking out, and I really think this is a sea change event. I mean, following the elections, following, you know, this mandate for change, all of a sudden we have a major state issue where real leaders will rise to the surface and lead people and take accountability, take responsibility for their actions. And yes, we have the $100 million budget, we have the $17 million cut locally, and everyone is trying. It's like musical chairs, and who's going to be the odd person out? You know, the fire chief, the mayor, the governor, they're all trying to position to see who is going to remain standing. And Governor Newsom has been like the best as far as passing the buck. But I think the residents and the taxpayers and the voters are tired of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hogan, to Bobby's point, I mean, there's a recall effort right now, and it looks like Karen Bass, the LA mayor, may be the first on the chopping block. From what I read, they've already got over half the signatures required to force a recall election. That's getting pretty close.
Absolutely. And the political reality is going to slap a lot of these folks across the face because bad governance a lot of times can be covered up by all kinds of issues going on in your state. But when something like this happens and so many people have lost property, many people have lost their lives, you realize the devastation, the damage caused by this. People want someone to blame. Sometimes that's unfair, but in this particular instance, it's not. These leaders did nothing to protect their constituency, not just to prepare for something like this in the past, but to deal with it right now in the present. They have failed at every single turn. Every single news report that comes out, it gets worse and worse for the decision makers in California, showing what they spent this money on. A lot of the money wasn't spent at all. Some of it had nothing to do with fire prevention at all. These are serious problems for them. And look, I don't want to talk about politics right now. I mean, people are suffering and your heart breaks for those folks. Yeah. But at the same time, when this all gets said and done, they're going to have a serious conversation about their leadership. And I think California could make a change, and this could be the natural disaster to help make them do that.
So, yeah, Hogan, to further your point that you've been making, you know, we're seeing many celebrities who traditionally have voted and supported these Democrat leaders, you know, living outside Hollywood there. Do they now change course? We're seeing many take to X and Instagram and saying, you know, what have I been paying for? What have I been voting for at all? Do you think, Bobby, that this affects some of these elected officials come re-election time? Again, we don't want to talk too much about politics because we know so many people are suffering and they're not thinking about that right now. But I have to think that maybe we see a shift in how people of this state have voted in the past.
Absolutely. And I mean, we have Caruso, who was Bass's opponent, now pledging $5 million for a fighter fund, trying to get up to $20 million mark, actually trying to help. And you contrast that with Bass and Newsom and others that are just, they're just inept. And you know, you don't know if it's intentionally trying to steer policy in a certain way. I think that's part of it. But then so many of these officials just can't handle the job. And yes, it's very tragic right now. I've got friends out there that have lost homes. And what you see is as though through all of this, still this time of reflection saying, what did we do? You know, what is our vote going for when these people can't handle the job? And I really think that this is a change. This is a sea change. And hopefully this will drive it home. We get some leadership that can actually do the job.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby, Hogan, great to chat with you guys this morning. Thank you both.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.